You know that moment of silence and stillness right before the actor speaks their first line? Or you can think of the blank page before an artist makes their first mark. Happy new moon in Leo. This moment here in the new moon and the darkness of the moon and a full solar eclipse is like that moment, a little bit where the inhales happened and you're ready. You're ready for what's going to be spoken into reality, what's going to be created from the world of imagination, the world of pictures, into this manifest world. This moment, so Leo in nature, you can think of like when the sun rises and it sends its first ray of light across the landscape, and it's like, whoa. In the same way, Leo as the embodiment of the artist and the creative often is connected to the loud, look at me, dressed all in red with fancy stuff, kind of persona and archetype. But part of Leo also is that moment before where they really decide what role are they going to play? What is it that is needed here? What is the right line? What is the right mark? Now, while we may not be actors, each one of us has a sun in our chart, the ruler of Leo, and each one of us actually does choose which part of our being we're going to put at center stage, which part of our being is going to be the leader of our day, our moment, our life. So looking at our whole chart, we have, all the major players. We have Mercury with Mars, we have Venus, we have our sun and our moon. And these personal planets are much more readily available for us and are the places where we come out of ourselves and interact with the world the most. And of course, beyond the personal planets, we have the interpersonal planets and then the outer planets, and they definitely influence how we present ourselves. But we also have another nature about us, and we have this nature of this part of us that really belongs to the earthly world, and this part of us that really belongs to the spirit realm. We can think of our physical body quite obviously, that's earthbound, but our etheric body also is so closely connected to our physical body, and really seeks the pleasures of the physical world, so warmth and light. And then our astral body, which is our body of mind, is also quite intimately connected to our life on earth. And here's where it gets kind of interesting, because the ego, of which we're more familiar with, the lower ego, that's just kind of the me and the selfish part of my desire life, often connected to the lower parts of our nature, so our hungers and our desires. There is an element where there's a higher nature to each one of us, where we also, as well as wanting our pleasures served, we also seek the pleasure of divine connection, the pleasure of being united with the spiritual realm. In anthroposophy, this higher nature is referred to as the higher ego or the true ego, even the higher self sometimes. So just like our chart includes all the planets and all the stars where they were when we were born, our individual personhood, no, our individuality is also an undividable nature, just like our chart. You can't just like cherry pick and be like, oh, I just want to be my moon. Even though we might think that some people do that, it's actually not possible. And then the same way, here being alive on earth, we have this exquisite opportunity to actually live with our whole being undivided, so that we start to realize and notice how our physical drives are affecting our spirit, how our hungers may be taking us away from what role we said we wanted to play. We may even notice the other way as well, that things that are realized in our higher nature can affect our lower nature. So let's take, for example, in our thinking, which is part of our astral body, which is part of mind, we can, be oriented towards materialism. And so we'll think all about how things physically are, what's measurable, what's quantifiable, how much money can we get, kind of thing. But when we actually take the spiritual world as reality that it is, and then factor in, how I want to be with my other human beings, how the invisible worlds are affecting us, that will in turn affect our thinking in an entirely different way. So we're not just measuring by the substance alone. And true as well in our own individuality, our higher nature, our aspirations of love and compassion actually can work down all the way to our physical body. So in traditional Chinese medicine, they talk about this dynamic relationship between the different bodies. And this is true within these bodies that move from the physical to the invisible. So when we ask ourselves the question, which part of me is going to take the lead, is going to step to center stage, it really is that we're not faking it. We're really acting out who we want to be, acting out of where we want to come from. And this then makes us awake to how much our life on earth is really, our initiation, and all the people and relationships we meet are moments and tests and challenges on the path of our own spiritual initiation. And of course, then we realize that we are the actors in tragedy and triumph, in heroic stories and horrible stories of other people's initiation as well. We're not alone, which makes us all a risky equation, which, thank goodness, is also part of the Leo archetype that we can empower ourselves with. Taking risks, a gamble, be honestly, truly yourself, let yourself shine with so much love. Happy new moon. Mwah.